festival is happening. But I'm not sure that's really suitable for them.
Richard's doing all right.
He's up at the tide bar.
Are you
now.
going up to the tide bar?
Well, I went there, darling. It was too premature.
Have they done it?
No, they hadn't arrived, but they'll be there now.
We go down here, first of all. There's going to be a fringe production on the other side of the barn.
No, everything is under control at the tithe barn, incredible though this may seem. The only real problem we have there is that we've been unable to remove 78 cows from the milking enclosure, but I hope this won't prove a serious obstacle.
Legendary Norman Lovett! Well, go on, Norman.
Thank you very much. My name's Norman Lovett. That's my real name. And I'd like £1 for every time someone said, "Love it, I bet you do," because I'd have about £6 or £7 by now. That was a heckle. I've never been heckled by a cow before. I'm thrilled. It's a new one for me.
While this concert has been going on, there's been an alarming development. The fringe people have taken it into their heads to hold their own alternative walk, and I've already lost one group of walkers, and I shall have to go myself with this one because I can't afford to lose any more people.
OK, we're on the alternative tour of Nether Wallop here now. As we look round here, we arrive now at the magnificent sweep, the completely unspoilt centre of Nether Wallop, this marvellous piazza, almost untouched by the 20th century, is almost exactly the same as it was in Saxon days when it all started.
The world of conjuring, it gives me great pleasure in introducing the very lovely Jenny Agutter, accompanied by the even lovelier, what is the canon called? Chapman. The very lovely Jenny Agutter, accompanied by the even lovelier Canon Guy Chapman, who will mystify you with his sleight of hand. What are you going to do? Put it up.
Right, I will get the tabs will open. I'm going to wait there. That it, Paul? Lovely.
Do you want to know what we're doing, Paul? What we're doing, so the first thing is doing is this like television interview, as it were, and I introduce Brian. Brian comes on, I do an interview with him, a few minutes. Then I replace the mic in the stand, and we do 2 poems each.
Yeah, I don't know where the walk is now. They could be, I'm sure they're halfway to Andover. They were last seen rounding up a herd of sheep. But I am confident that they will be back in time to see the late night review shortly after tea, so I'm not too worried. The Variety Night is the last event of the day, thank God. The only minor hitch we have is that the village hall only seats 60 people, and there's been a great demand for these seats, as you can imagine. Although there was a great demand until they discovered that the programme's being relayed up to the Five Bells pub, and now I think people are regretting rushing for tickets.
The rectory over Wallop. No, this is not the inebriate butler. Thatcher. T-H-A-T-C-H-E-R. Well, don't ask me what the hell I'm doing. I went to be some frightful place in the sticks, introducing some artistic festival. Well, I agree it's very peculiar. Well, they were hoping to get Mr. Kenneth Livingston, I gather, with a ballet of Afro-Asian homosexualists dancing round a bonfire, what left of the GLC funds. No, Margaret felt I really ought to go and run up the flag and stand in, you see. No, I think the locals are taking it pretty terribly, quite frankly. Yes, I got the impression they weren't entirely expecting a lot of sex-crazed cameramen descending on them. Treading shit into the Axminster. And various randy bearded buggers from the sound department poking poles through the family portraits, not to mention the wives and daughters. Well, there's also the electricians, of course. I mean, they have a way of siphoning anything drinkable out of the local cellars with the speed and accuracy of a high-pressure pump. Yes, they didn't like it. Well, Margaret, as you probably know, not really in favour of the arts, nor am I, come to that. However, they do seem to have the right idea down at whatever it's called, Wuthering Wallop. Yes, they're doing it on very strictly economic lines. Apparently, one of the ideas is they don't pay the artists. I think I may have had rather... Bill, I think I may have imbibed rather too freely at the trout off license. Oh, yes, of course it will be, yes. Okay. Good evening. Welcome to question time at the Nether Wallop Festival. We are privileged to have with us this evening the Minister for the Arts, If we have any questions from the hall on the question of the arts in general, and this flourishing festival in particular, I know he will be only too grateful and glad to answer, won't you, my lord?
Yes, could I ask the Minister what he proposes to do about the National Theatre?
I think you probably heard that, didn't you? What do you intend to do about the National Theatre? They don't get much to eat in the cabinet. And of course, they're not used to answering questions without a scriptwriter. Well, I think that'd better be all, Lord Gowrie. So if you'd care to just take a bow and say, come on, little girl. just give us a bow. And I'll tell you what, you come and show us something about you artistic folk, eh? Well, Lord Gowrie usually kisses me at that moment. Nonetheless, I hope that your curiosity about the arts is satisfied. Thank you, Lord Gowrie, and a good journey back on the motorway. Thank you very much. It is exquisite pleasure at this stage in the evening to introduce the next entertainment, which I'm sure you're going to enjoy. I shall be down at the Bell and Jumper, enjoying the odd snort. But you are going to have to sit through the very lovely Jenny Agutter assisting the even lovelier Reverend Guy Chapman to play with his coloured balls. You will enjoy it. Where is the nearest bullseye?
Well, hello there. Nice to see you. Now, they said that they wanted a conjurer, so they looked around for the biggest fool they could find, and they found me. So I got myself a rig out, and I got myself a name. Here we are. But then, of course, they said that I would need an assistant, and this must be the best trick of the evening, because I want to introduce to you my glamorous assistant, Jenny. Oh, give me back that rope. Come on, stop fiddling around. Thank you very much. I want to tie this ring. I'm going to put that down. Tie this ring on in a very simple knot. If I hold it like that, you can see something important. That is, the string is touching the white side. It does not touch the black side at all. So the string side is the white side, which is the inside, and the black side, which is the outside, is the clear side. So if I could turn the ring inside out, so the white side was outside and the black side was inside, then the black side, which is the clear side, would be inside, and the white side, which is the string side, would be outside. So the string would be outside and not inside, and therefore the ring would come off the string without undoing the knot. Now, you may think that's a lot of nonsense, but we very simply do it. We get hold of the ring in the middle, and we just turn it inside out, and off it comes.
My name's Norman Lovett. 38 next month. They say life starts at 40. I can't wait. I live alone in a little flat in London, and that can drive you a bit strange. Start talking to yourself. It's a bit awkward if you're cooking a meal and talking to yourself. Can you get me the salt, please, Norman? No, I'm doing this. You end up cooking 2 meals. Get a bit lonely because I live on my own. One Sunday I sort of wished I had a wife, really. So I cooked me dinner and put it in the oven and left it there and went out to the pub and came back late on purpose. When I got back, I took the dinner out of the oven and threw it over my head. I'm a Scorpio. That frightened you, didn't it? I've got a pet sardine. Had it for about a year now. Bought some sardines and just took the tin, opened it, and there was just one sardine in there just swimming slowly around. Got a bit attached to it. Got some oil and put it in a little bowl and popped him in there. Doesn't do much. just nods occasionally. To be quite frank with you, I'm fed up with it. Thanks very much for listening. Good night. Thank you.
No, will you come here now? Will you come here now? Will you come here now? Come here, will you now? Chazes. Is he? Yes. Is he? Yes. Is he? Yes. Is he? Yes. Why are we talking like this?
To do one more poem, which is, I suppose, a love poem, really. It's called Sometimes It Happens. And sometimes it happens that you are friends, and then you are not friends, and friendship has passed, and whole days are lost, and among them a fountain empties itself. And sometimes it happens that you are loved, and then you are not loved, and love has passed, and whole days are lost, and among them a fountain empties itself into the grass. And sometimes you want to speak to her, and then you do not want to speak, and then the opportunity has passed. Your dreams flare up, they suddenly vanish. And also it happens that there is nowhere to go, and then there is somewhere to go, and then you have bypassed, and years flare up and are gone, quicker than a minute. So you have nothing. You wonder if these things matter, and as soon as you begin to wonder if these things matter, they begin to cease to matter, and caring is past, and a fountain empties itself into the grass.
One of my favourite things, those amazing headlines you get occasionally, very famous headlines, things like Star's broken leg hits box office. Remember that? And US general flies back to front. Remember those during the war? And a particular favourite of mine was, I think, when the Washington were trying to help out the GIs in Vietnam, I think, and there was a headline which said, US flies in hamburgers. And this is the poem. US flies in hamburgers. If you go down the high street today, you'll be sure of a big surprise when you order your favourite burger with a milkshake and regular fries. For the secret is out, I tell you no lies, they've stopped using beef in favour of flies. Flies, flies, big juicy flies, flies as American as apple pies. Horse flies from Texas as big as your thumb are sautéed with onions and served in a bun. Free-range blue bottles, carefully rinsed, are smothered in garlic and painlessly minced. Black-eyed bees with stings intact add a zesty zing, and that's a fact. Colorado beetles, ants from Kentucky, Rhode Island roaches, and if you're unlucky, Baltimore bedbugs, and even horrider, leeches as squashy as peaches from Florida. Flies, flies, big juicy flies, flies as American as Mum's apple pies. It's lovely down in McDonald's today, but if you don't fancy flies, better I'd say to keep well away. Stay home and eat bird's eyes.
Good evening. Good evening, my name's Kevin Turvey. And before we start, I'd just like to say that I can't tell you what a great pleasure it is to be appearing in the Nether regions again. Now, I can't tell you because I'm in a bit of a bad mood at the moment. Don't ask me why. Just a strange and interesting person, I suppose. A bit like Anita Harris. Well, and, you know, without the bullet hole, you know. But I've been in a bad mood all day. All day! Well, not absolutely all day. You know, I mean, I was asleep for a bit of the day. It was the beginning bit of the day that I was asleep for. But I was in a bad mood when I woke up. I woke up, right? I got out of the bath. Wiped all the sick off my legs, you know. You know you have to, you know. I thought I'd better have a bit of breakfast, right? Because my stomach was completely empty. Well, I mean, there was an intestine in there and... You know. So I thought, I'll get out to the kitchen, right? So I got into the kitchen, I thought, what shall I have for my breakfast? I know, I'll have bacon crisps, right? Well, I'm not going to have prawn cocktail flavour for breakfast, am I? Hey, little Archie. Anyway, I got out the crisps and I started to open them. Finished opening them, started to eat them, right? Well, you've got to start somewhere, haven't you? You know. I started with the top one, you know. Well, it's better than starting with the bottom one, you know, because start with the bottom one, you've got to get all the other crisps out first, you know. And by the time you've eaten it, you can't remember what order to put them all back in again. No one, unless you mark them with a biro or something like that. Then they taste all inky, they make you sick again. You've got all the back business, you know. Start with the top one, that's my tip. That's what I did, I started with the top one, you know, working my way through, crisp by crisp, you know. Sometimes a double. I just had a few crisps, right? I just had a few. I don't know how many. It was 10 crisps about. Anyway, it's not important. I just had a few, right? And the telephone went. Just got up and buggered off like that. So I ran and I picked it up, you know. I answered it. It was the bloke who runs this place. Yeah? Colonel Wallop. It was him. He says, Kevin Turvey? I said, yes. Well, he was right, you know. He says, Kevin, where are you? I said, I'm at home. Where do you think? He says, well, you're supposed to be in the Nether regions. He says, get down here and stop being funny or you're in serious trouble, Turvey. So here I am. That's why I'm late. I'm sorry I'm late. But here's my joke. No, that's not it. I just moved the mic a bit there. Very funny. See? Here's my joke. Now then, what do you say to a bloke that's got no arms and no legs if your watch is broken? Have you got the time on your cock?
Yes, the walk did finish. Some of them are now in the pageant, which is more walking, but with actions. Trevor Nunn directed this pageant, but unfortunately it has to start at 9:30 in the morning to fit into the programme. I don't think he's going to be able to get here. If they don't move off quite sharpish, we're going to have a clash with the quiz, the Harvest Festival and the Brigadier's Lunch, which could be difficult.
Assemble! Assemble! All you citizens! And come and see performed the Pageant of Nether Wallop.
Are we not following the town crier? Is he not with us? He seems to be in the rear.
648 AD, Christianity came to Nether Wallop. And in later Saxon times, local tradition says that Nether Wallop was the birthplace of Lady Godiva. She rode the streets of Wallop fully clothed.
Earl Godwin was her pater, King Harold was her bro, and Fife-Head House her home, until 'twas time for her to go.
This is another rather unusual event for an international arts festival. They hold a lot of quizzes in Nether Wallop, so I thought, why don't we pit our team against the world's greatest minds, and this is Nether Wallop versus the world's greatest philosophers, chaired by Bamber Gascoigne, who is used to dealing with great intellects. Of the two, the philosophers seem rather more awed by the prospect than the villagers.
Good, well, welcome everybody to this great quiz in the Nether Wallop Festival between one of the greatest teams of minds ever gathered together, I would say, for such a festival. On my left, the greatest philosophers in the world, they are builders. What does it actually say? The world's great philosophers, there you are. And bravely lining up against them, the team from Nether Wallop. So let's first of all meet some of the world's greatest minds. The captain of them is Sir Freddie Eyre, sitting in the one from the side there, in the middle of the three of them. A.J. Eyre, the former Wickham Professor of Logic at Oxford. Sitting on his right here is Arnold Zuboff, who is the lecturer in philosophy at University College London. And sitting on his left is Jerry Cohen, who is next year about to become the Chichley Professor of Social and Political Theory at Oxford. And now, batting for Nether Wallop, we have some more of the great minds of the world, certainly the great minds of Nether Wallop. We have their captain, Fred Moland, who is sitting on the right of them there, who I don't need to tell you all is chairman of the parish council and the local undertakers. And we have sitting beside him the leading Nether Wallop expert on aerobics. She doesn't like that description, but I'm told by some that she is that. It's Larry Mitchell, applause for her. And on the left wing, Richard Osmond, the farmer of Broadgate Farm, which has been in his family, he tells me, since 1600. Richard Osmond. Now we begin with a bell, we end with a gong, so let's go straight into our first round, and with 12 questions in that, and let's have the bell. We're off. What is a duck rabbit? Is Freddie Eyre got in there first?
It's a puzzle picture which can be read either as a duck or a rabbit, and it was introduced into philosophy by Ludwig Wittgenstein in the investigation.
The farmers thought they must have had it made with a duck rabbit, but that indeed is what a duck rabbit is. So it's 10 points there to the philosophers. Right. And a second question. Why did Hume disbelieve in miracles? Freddie's got in there again first.
It was contrary to the laws of nature.
That is correct. You can't hold a good man down. He's always wanted to get into a quiz game, and at last he's made it. All right, another question. What do Igri and Maris otter have in common? Yes, Richard.
Winter barley.
They are both varieties of winter barley. And Nether Wallop come back strongly with 10 points, 20 to 10. Now, it's still a bit running one way, this at the moment, but don't despair on the other side. Which Greek Stoic philosopher spent all his time naked in a barrel to show he didn't need anything to be happy? And yes.
Diogenes the liar.
Diogenes
Laertius.
Yes, absolutely right. And that Jerry comes in there with his first 10 points for Diogenes. Correct, 10 points there. Now I want to know, who dug a pond in her garden, made her own paddle steamer, and went round and round on it? Yes, Larry. What's that title? What's her rank?
Colonel McPhee.
Colonel, what's her Christian name?
Betty.
Colonel Betty McPhee, we got there. Colonel Betty McPhee. All right, now, back a bit to the other side, this looks like. What is Kant's name for that which he claims to be the unconditional moral law for all right? Yes, Arnold. Categorical imperative, another 10 points to them. They're establishing a big lead, but there's lots of time. Who went to a cocktail party in Bent Street, dressed as a witch, and went at all the guests? Yes, Larry.
Colonel McPhee.
Colonel Betty McPhee, did indeed. Another 10 points there to Nether Wallop. And finally, the last one in this first round, I want to know which philosopher scheduled his lectures for the same time as Hegel's, because he hated him and didn't want to have him to have an audience. Yes, it was Freddie again. Schopenhauer is correct. And the score at the end of this first round is 90 to the philosophers, who are, after all, the greatest minds in the world, and 30 to another Wallop, who are 33% as good as the greatest minds in the world already.
Another fight.
Another battle. We got up the firearms now.
Over there, in the Trout off license, an ancient alehouse, now beautifully renovated. In a shed in its front garden, Thomas Marshall made his bats from Wallop willow, which the famous W.G. Grace used.
Hooray! Ah!
The other 16th century cottages remember when the square was a village green, where the stock stood for the punishment of wrongdoers.
Now, another question. I want to know, what new vaccine kills all 10 strains of foot rot in sheep? Anyone there?
Clovax.
No, not Clovax. Anyone in the back of the mind?
Footvax.
Footvax, he got there. 10 points. Footvax, he got there. And there's only one to go now before they're neck and neck again at 90 all. I want to know, what is the general name for a philosophical theory in which there is only one ultimate reality, whether spirit, matter, or neutral substance? Anyone get that? Yes, Fred.
Moneyism.
Well, a bit like monism. It sounds a bit more of Margaret Thatcherian than we'd intended, but let's reduce moneyism to monism and give them the 10 points neck and neck and 90 all. What a magnificent display there by Nether Wallop, and what can the philosophers do confronted with brilliance such as that? So they've got 6 questions, all of their own. Let's see how they can do. What is the gestation period of a cow? Yes, Arnold.
It's 9 months, 1 week.
9 months, 1 week, absolutely to the day. Right, now for 10 points again, I want to know who put on a false beard, pretended to be an Austrian bird expert, and addressed the Women's Institute for 20 minutes before they discovered who it was. Can anyone work
Can
out?
only have happened here, and therefore it must be Colonel Betty McPhee.
Colonel Betty McPhee! Absolutely right, Colonel Betty McPhee.
1982.
The vicar's wife enters the London Marathon and triumphantly finishes the course to the greater glory of Wallop.
And on September the 30th, 1984...
Nether Wallop holds a festival to raise funds for the repair of the church.
God bless Nether Wallop.
God bless over Wallop.
God bless us all.
And that has brought them up to only 10 points behind. And I want to know, what do the following have in common? Hampshire Down, Oxford Down, and Dorset Down. Anyone on that one? Oh, shoot, nothing from the... I'm going to have to throw that out, I'm afraid, prompting from the audience. Yes, you lost Nether Wallop a valuable 10 points by prompting from the audience. So, I know, but I'm known to be a strict question master. And now we'll have another one. Who in Nether Wallop was buried in an armchair in bright yellow trousers inside a pyramid? Yes, Fred.
Dr. Deuce.
Dr. Deuce, 10 points, and they're in the lead for the first time at 200, 290. And another question. Who proposed to say to whom, why have you made the evidence for yourself so insufficient? Freddie got there again first, undoubtedly.
Bertrand Russell to God.
Well, we've got a clergyman at the back, he won't accept that. We're neck and neck again at 230 all, and we've got less than a minute to go now, and I want to know, for what is Professor Tristram most famous? I'm sure yes, someone on that side knows about it.
When the paintings were discovered in 1929, he was the professor who was in charge of...
He was the professor in charge of discovering paintings in 1929, and we will not reveal where the paintings were. It happens they were at Nether Wallop, and there's the gong! There is the gong! Congratulations. Very bad luck, the professor. A magnificent win by Nether Wallop. That's the end of the Nether Wallop quiz.
I recognise we have a number of children in church, and it's only right that they should have their spot. And for this purpose, I have brought along a box of apples here. And any children, anybody else for that matter, can see these are very nice apples. Now, I also have 4 other apples here. And I wonder what children would think of these ones. Here we have some rather, yes, disgusting apples, completely bad, fungus growing on them, and really rather a smell. In fact, I better put a lid on fairly soon. Now I think I'll put the lid on now. I have a simple question to ask, and that is, which is easier? To turn good apples into bad apples, or to turn bad apples into good apples?
What about that?
Thank you. I did think you were going to do a magic trick there. With the apples. I thought, oh my goodness.
Can I introduce Miss McPhee? She wasn't at the quiz.
Only 3 things to go now. I do know that people are turning up to rehearse for Variety Night this evening.
I'm going to be a wave. We're looking forward to it. I need a lot to drink if I'm going to be a wave.
Then there's the Brownies Ballet at the same time as the football match. I'm not at all sure who's in the football match. When Real Madrid couldn't come, I asked Liverpool, but they had a European Cup tie in Poland. So I said Nether Wallop's on the way to Poland, but they were still unable to make it.
Goalkeepers they got.
We seem to have 2 referees out there, Simon Stainrod and Gary O'Reilly, but I don't suppose for 1 minute they know what the score is.
You notice it's an old Nether Wallopian custom. You'll observe that both teams, one team is dressed as women and the other team dressed as flashers, which is an old Benny Hill script they're working from.
Does that beat a long-distance telephoto of that? Focus through 1, 2, through, form and Fido. Harry Tesker's dangling microphone. Please ask someone to come and take my place. Embarrassment would look it full in the bloody eyeball of that camera. Focus through. Oh, yes. If you old, and deep joy to you too. Hope you enjoy the meal. Pardon, and settle down that if you old, because we're all here for that, you know. I'll do it. People line up knife and forky in the Cassophobia there and stuffle and fork us through and suicide commit by knife and fork with an American doctor who sent and lay for us around the growl. Oh dear.
For me, the Brownies Ballet is the cultural highlight of the weekend. It tells the story of the day in the life of a mayfly and the problems it faces vis-à-vis Brother Trout, whose sole interest is eating it. It's a specially commissioned piece for the festival, the score by Michael Barclay. Andrew Logan has designed the set and turned the school hall into a river, and Lynn Seymour has choreographed it for the first Wallop Brownie troupe, to have these little brownies hopping in and out of plastic bags all week. The brownies are the stars of the piece, but they are assisted by the chorus of waves led by Wayne Sleep, and I think Jenny Agutter's in there somewhere too.
over just a bit. Okay, thank you. He is already on the radio. So no stand mic. The Major will be on a radio. Lovely. Right, so we've had the intro, we've had the applause, you bring the chairs on, and away you go.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the third in our series, Shakespeare Masterclass. Last week, remember, we were working largely on the body. Well, tonight it's the turn of the voice, and we'll be doing some vocal work. And for that reason, we're very lucky to have with us in the studio this evening, Hugh. Hello, Hugh.
Hi. One person there, 3 people there.
You may be curious to know how Mel and I met.
Yeah, I'm pretty curious about that.
It was a rather blurred evening, wasn't it? Yes. I was in a little bar in Leipzig where I like to hang out. And to be quite frank, I was looking for a woman. What?
For a man.
Oh, I'm looking for a man, yes. I must remember what sex I am.
I introduce to you Bill Wyman and Stanley Otway.
Right, Wyman and Anne wins the 5K situation. We won't go down to the follow spot, Graham.
Yeah, it's good. It's a great place. I've always loved this kind of England.
Yeah.
It's all treesy and thatched houses and wee woody bits and all that. It's brilliant. I love it.
Yes, it is a large marquee, but it has solved all these clashes in the programme that we're having, because now we've got all the village in there, we've got all the artists. Last night we had everyone wanting to see the show from the pub, so now we've got the pub in there as well.
You like that, I wouldn't. Billy Connolly.
We've also got the festival chairman, Major Billy Jepson Turner, in there, rehearsing for his first performance as Master of Ceremonies in the Variety Night.
Most extraordinary man. Well, I wait to see. What about the locals?
Can you read this? Julia's just done this.
Everybody's in there now, so that is the festival.
This is very exciting. So off you go. Lots of exciting work. Time now, gathering from the buttocks. Let's see the rest of the speech. Let's see how it's worked. Time hath my lord a wallet at his back when he puts arms for oblivion, a great-sized monster of ingratitude. Well, as you can see, there's still a long way to go, isn't there?
From my point of view, this festival has been a disaster because I didn't see anything at Edinburgh, and I haven't seen anything at Nether Wallop either. I'm probably the only person who has seen less than the field walk.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have a wonderful evening. Here at the first Nether Wallop International Arts Festival, we're very honoured to have with us the distinguished Shakespearean director, Stephen Fry, and fresh from his triumphant bottom in The Dream at Stratford, the actor Hugh Laurie.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the third in our series, Shakespeare Masterclass, An Actor Prepares. Last week, if you remember, we were concentrating largely on the body. Well, tonight it's the turn of the voice, and we'll be doing some vocal work. And for that reason, we're very lucky to have with us in the studio this evening the fine actor Hugh Laurie. Hello, Hugh.
Hi.
Hi. Hugh, have you prepared something for us this evening?
Yes, I have. It's a speech from Troilus and Cressida, 3-3. It's the Ulysses speech.
That's the Ulysses speech, TNC 3-3. That's on page 39 in your new Penguins, if you'd like to follow here in the tent. Hugh, first of all, before we start, what I'd like you to do is, I want you to imagine, Hugh, that you're like a racing car going round a track, all right? Now, there's a video camera mounted on top of you, so we're all going to get a view of the track, and later on, of course, I'll be taking your engine apart, piece by piece, oiling it, putting it back together again. But Hugh, before I strip you down and oil you, Hugh, what I want you to do is give us all a good view of that track, all right?
You mean read it?
Yes, read the speech if you would. Hugh?
Yes?
Why are you squatting?
Oh, sorry.
I don't think we're ready for that yet, are we?
No. Time hath, my lord, a wallet at his back, wherein he puts arms for oblivion, a great-sized monster of ingratitude.
Well, there's a lot of work to be done, isn't there?
Yes.
All right. Shall we start, Hugh, by having a close look at the text, all right?
Yes, well, I've got this raging debate within me, and the debate seems to centre upon women seen both as victims and as power brokers.
Yes, can we shelve that raging debate, Hugh? Well, we may come back to it later, but for the moment, let's put the raging debate to one side, because we've got a lot of work to do, and I want to concentrate, Hugh, on the text. What's the word, Hugh? What's the word, I wonder, that Shakespeare decides to begin his sentence with here?
Time.
Time.
Yes.
Time.
Yes.
And how, I wonder, does Hugh decide to spell that word? Does Shakespeare decide to spell it in an unusual way? What's the way Shakespeare decides to spell it?
T-I-M-E.
T-I... M-E.
Yes.
And what kind of spelling of the word time is that, Hugh?
Well, it's the ordinary spelling.
It's the ordinary spelling, isn't it? It's the conventional spelling.
Right.
Right, so why, out of all the spellings he could have chosen, did Shakespeare choose that one, do you think?
To give us time in an ordinary sense.
Because he wanted to give us time in an ordinary, in a conventional sense. So, right. Shakespeare has given us time in a conventional sense. Okay. All right, but he's given us something else, hasn't he, Hugh? Have a look at the typography. What do you see?
Oh, it's got a capital T.
Shakespeare's T very much uppercase there, isn't it, Hugh? All right. Why?
Because it's the first word in the sentence.
Well, I think that's partly it, Hugh, but I think there's another reason, too. Think. When do we spell words with capital letters?
Oh, well, if they're important...
When they're important, when they've got an abstract sense, what I like to call an abstract conceptual sense. So, right. Shakespeare has given us time in a conventional sense, and he's given us time in an abstract sense. All right? Think your voice is ready to convey that, Hugh?
I hope so.
I hope so, too. All right, give it a go.
Just the one word.
Just the one word for the moment, Hugh, if you would, please. Whoa, Hugh. Where do we gather from?
Oh, the buttocks.
Always gather
Sorry.
from the buttocks,
Yes,
Hugh.
sorry.
All right. So, gathering from the buttocks.
Time!
What went wrong there, Hugh?
I don't know, I got a bit lost in the middle, I think.
All right. Not to worry, because what I want you to do now, Hugh, is I want you to take the word time, and I want you to start adding some of your own feelings. All right? Some of your feelings of ruin and folly and hopelessness and despair, feelings too of triumph, feelings of hope, feelings of love, feelings, a sense of Troy falling and a sense of hope of Troy rising, all right? Feelings of jealousy, envy, and covetousness.
Ambition?
No, leave ambition out. So, gathering from the buttocks, off you go. Much better, Hugh. We made tremendous strides. This is very exciting work. I'm very excited. I hope you're excited too.
Oh, I am.
You are excited, Hugh. Good. And I hope everybody else is excited because this is about the most exciting work I've ever done, Hugh. All right. So now let's consolidate on it. All right. Let's build. And I want you now to read the whole speech using what we've learned. What? Gathering from the buttocks. All right.
Time! Hath my lord a wallet at his back? A great size monster of ingratitude.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. David Lindsay with his old farmer's song. Most of you will know Dr. David Lindsay, but I suspect that some of the audience may be even better known to him.
There was an old farmer, he had an old sow. Susan is a funny-called sow. Susan is a funny-called sow. Sing lassical rings relaw. Susan is a funny-called sow. Now this old sow, she had little pigs. Susan is a funny-called sow. Susan is a funny-called sow. Sing lassical rings relaw. Susan is a funny-called sow. Now these little pigs, they made a bit of bacon. Susan is a funny-called sow. Susan is a funny-called sow. Sing lassical rings relaw. Susan is a funny-called sow. Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'd like to, if I may, to remind you of the very serious nature of our activities this weekend. Although you've all been enjoying yourself, we're doing it to raise money for two very worthy causes. One of which, as you know, is to repair the church steeple. But the rest of the money that we're collecting this weekend goes to another very worthy charity, of which you've probably not heard. It's a Women's London Action Group, and as Ken Livingstone and the GLC will shortly be abolished, there's no doubt that they will be in need of funds very soon. We're very lucky tonight to have two representatives of that society here. They would like me to make it clear to you that they are in fact lesbians, and they're going to tell us something about their work, something about the way they're going to spend the money that we're collecting. Here they are, two representatives of that society, the Women's Voluntary Royal Lesbians Against Hitler.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And firstly, thanks very much for the money.
Oh, coming. Yeah, really useful.
Yeah.
Mel and I, oh, by the way, I should introduce myself. My name is Peter. Mel and I are part of a tightly knit cabal of lesbians.
Raving
lesbians. Sorry about that. I'm a bit more modest than him. But, I'm a raving lesbian. Amongst what figures today, we have
there are thousands of us.
Bishop of Durham,
Oliver Reed.
Oliver Reed, right, Leslie he is.
Yeah. course, the well-known business tycoon, Mr. Tiny.
No, seriously, when you think of great lesbians of the past, people like Joseph Stalin,
Tom Mix,
and more latterly, I suppose, Noel Edmonds.
Noel Edmonds. We are aware of the problems that these guys faced.
Well, these gals.
Or these gals.
These gals faced.
You see, with the social climate they were living in, they were unable...
Shocking.
They were unable to express themselves. They were, in fact, afraid to come out.
And terrified to go in, really, weren't they? Got them both ways. We,
and we must make this clear, we are not ashamed.
Some of you may be wondering how Mel and I first met.
I'm pretty curious about that as well.
It was one of those rather blurry evenings, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
No, it was a little bar in Leipzig where I used to hang out, and frankly, I was looking for a man. Then Mel swaggered in, and I suddenly knew what I really wanted out of life. A woman who could pack a punch, a woman who could wear a suit, and a woman who could stop a car with her bare hand.
Well, come on, it's not that difficult to hail a cab, for Christ's sake. We are women.
Women?
Big women.
Big British women.
Big lesbian women who happen to share a taste for young, attractively sort of formed young women.
Yeah. That type of thing. And as women, we understand their needs.
That's right.
We understand their pleasure centres.
That's right.
I mean, you won't find Mel and me grappling around hopelessly for hours on end. Rummaging around, looking all over the place as it moved, you know, we know where it is. Rummaging around with their pleasure centres? No. Pleasure centres are no mystery to us.
Indeed not. In fact, we're going to open one of our own at Brent Cross.
It's quite a nice location,
it is a nice
actually.
Location, and we're hoping, obviously, a lot of men are going to come into our pleasure centre.
And open their minds.
Exactly. Because I want to make this clear as well. We do not hate men.
No.
We do not hate men. We feel sorry for them.
We pity them. We pity them. I mean, all that beer swilling, camaraderie, oh, Christ.
A little bit earlier on, we were in the pub, right? And it was teeming. I mean, teeming with boozing, arm wrestling, bar billiard, hooligans, you know.
Yeah.
And frankly, it was...
It was quite nice, wasn't it? Disgusting, yeah. Disgusting is what I meant.
Well, that's right. And just thank God that we were able to turn to each other
for
succour.
For
succour.
For succour. We can always turn to each other.
That's right. You're always dropping around for a little late succour.
For that, yeah.
You see, we enjoy the simple things in life.
Yeah, we like simple things like nature.
Country rambles.
Synchronised swimming. Anyway.
I want to say something, actually, about synchronised swimming.
Say it right away.
It really...
has to be said.
It's not as easy.
Or as sensible.
As it looks. To start, you have to be able to hold your breath for over 2 minutes. And in fact, I mean, holding your breath, not breathing for over 2 minutes is one of the most important things we lesbians have to learn.
Well, it's the only important thing that we actually have to learn.
That's right, yeah.
But I think what we'd like to do now is a little piece of our forthcoming act of synchronised swimming. We're not actually going to dive into these mugs because we're not fully insured. Anyway.
OK, so here we go. We're going to do a little bit from our new upcoming routine.
Yeah.
The music we'll be performing to is Salute to Lesbos. It's a beautiful piece penned by that raving old lesbian Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah. God bless him.
OK, so goggles on.
Goggles on. Oh, God.
point of view that the judges don't actually see.
Libiamo nelle etiche la bellezza infiora e là fuggevo l'ora s'inebria voluta. Libiamo nei dolci fremiti, libie suscila e amore, spaghetti nei dolci fremiti che susciti l'amore. Perché la glocchia al cuore ogni ora le fracchia più bella avrà. Viviamo nelle etiche la bellezza ignora e là fuggevo l'ora a signare la voluta. Viviamo nei dolci fremiti che suscita l'amore, poiché che l'occhio e il coro onnipotente. L'amore e le città cose fatte la fa. La vita del tripitivo quando non sarà vite a chi l'ignora e mio destin così. In questo paradiso ne scoprio spaghetti bolognese avec moi.
Well, it shows you never can tell. I'm now delighted to introduce Bill Wyman and Stanley Unwin in a skit of Bill leaving his job for a very risky rock and roll group.
Mr. Wyman.
Wyman.
Wyman, sure. Did you see the notice, no smoking in the office forward?
No, I didn't notice.
Oh, well, please put out and choky stuffer.
Oh, all right.
You see, there's enough pollution inside the acid rain, all dribbly, and all this and that, smoking choking down the throat because of peat loaders. Tried the peat load here and shot their larynx in the throat because of pard load.
Oh. No.
Deep suffering.
I forgot.
Now, would you like to take a place and sit you on a bottle on that? Would you all? Now, first of all, you're the diesel store which part makes supplied in the Wilmore, aren't you? The reason for calling you, Mr. Wymold, is because...
Wyman, sorry.
is because I've noticed there's extra hair and dangle it down the throat or around your head bulb there. Very untidy focus. Well,
just a little bit.
Well, look, any good barber, 75p, and trim it around the eardrum. You look much smarter.
Well, you see, I started to play in this rock and roll band, you see, and they like long hair, you know, the kids.
There's a deep suffering in this. Look, are you interested insofar as the pop world it formed?
We formed a group, and we've already played some shows in London, you know, and we've been quite successful.
The what, Rolling Stokers?
Yes.
Look, why do you want to join it up? There's this Cliff Jaggery, protruding livers, what? Downsy Huffalo down the stage, splitting trousers there, get the microphone, we dangly up and on the leg on the row of that through.
Well, it's very lucrative.
Ah, the money bag called the flesh pocker.
Well, can't blame me.
You seek it travel abroad and flesh pockers? Which country you mowed?
Well, we've been invited to go to America.
America? Oh, what? Las Vegas?
Yes.
All these?
Yeah.
Ah, deep folly. Yes.
And
what about the others?
Germany.
Germany. Ah, now what's your route bound to Munich and the Cellar Thorcus? That's where the Beatles did their first Thorcus Modi.
I think so. I think that's where they were. And Holland.
Can't I tempt you with a raise you up with your salary for Through Seps? Could I do that?
You could if I knew what you were talking about.
Look, I think your mind is set for your guitarman Plucky, Romy Broad, the Americode, and US Acres, and Australia Hode, and all these. Is it made up?
Yes, I think so.
Well, all I can say is deep folly and no stableload and staying in this country and seek the stability of the sensibold and incredible and the great isload of this and bugger off.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, Tony Pierce with a yokel monologue.
You ever seen that young lady from Chipperfield's mind now when old Charlie and I went down to Zucker's one day, Snow? They had these your sideshows in there, see? One of them were these your tombola. Old Charlie and I to go in and have a look round, Snow. He said, come on, George, he said, let's go and have a go at that. So in us do go, Snow. Darn now if old Charlie didn't win first prize, Snow. And that were one of these your toilet brushes. 2 or 3 days later, I said, oh, Charlie, I said, how best getting on with that toilet brush? Oh, he said, I don't like it. I'd give it up and gone back a paper. He went to the doctor the other day. Now he said, Doc, he said, give us a quick look over. He said, I ain't feeling too good. So the doctor examined on and looked. He said, well, I can't find anything wrong with you, he said. He said, there's only one thing. He said, best regular. Ah, regular, he said, 7 o'clock every morning. So he said, what's the trouble then? He said, I don't get up for 1/2 past. Anyway, look, I gotta be off now, but before I go, I'd like to leave you with this little thought. If one storm to start for another one to finish, you can reckon on I'm a wet day. Ta-da, good night, God bless.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, John Otway.
Well, the old hometown, it looks the same as I step down from the train. And there to greet me is my mama and my papa. Yes, they've all come to see me by the shade of that old oak tree. And it was a good to touch the green, green grass of home. 'Cause they've all come to see me down by the reaching, smiling sweetly, yeah, as they lay me beneath the green, green grass of home.
smiling sweetly, yeah, as they lay me beneath the green, green grass of home. Yes, they've all come to see me on the reaching, smiling sweetly, yeah, as they lay me neath the green, green grass of home.
Was anyone at the football match in Middle Wallop this afternoon? I'm the manager of the Middle Wallop team. I was just wondering if anyone had seen the game at all. I can see a few members of my team in the audience tonight. I hope you're having a good laugh. But apart from them, did anyone else see the game at all? Because, well, you didn't miss much. In fact, it was pathetic. You incompetent load of useless bastards. All right, Walworth, I'll hear your excuses later. Anyone notice the final score? Bairstow, you're a chartered accountant. You're used to dealing with big figures. No, it was 17-0, Bairstow, to them. No, it was to the... Bairstow, it was... Bairstow, it was... Bairstow, look, I explained this to you last week. When the ball goes in our net, it's not our score, it's theirs. It's their score. We've got to get the ball down their end. No, you didn't score one, Kerrigan. That was a pigeon you headed into the net. 17 bleeding bulletin nil. Look, I'm stuck in the Sunday morning league. As manager of the team, it would be totally unfair, not to say unethical, of me as manager to single out any one person for criticism, but Duckworth, you were crap. Complete and utter garbage, and I'm going to tell you something that may shock you, Duckworth. The only reason you're in this team is because it's your ball. And you touched that ball once this afternoon, Duckworth, and that was when you threatened to take it home if we didn't let you take a free kick. And you might listen, Sourbottom. Hello, Sourbottom. Hello, I'm over here. Now, Sourbottom, how many times have I told you to stay out of their penalty area when they're on the attack? I don't care, Sourbottom. You're supposed to be our goalkeeper. Stay out of their area. Goalkeeper. Goalkeeper. Ha! You even dropped your bit of orange at half-time.
And now, let's shake some action and boogie. With rock and roll extravaganza, starring that Emperor of the Ivories, Mr. Jools Holland, and his celebs. Hot diggity!
Thank you very much. For the first time ever here in Wallop, I've brought my big band will be with me in just for a moment. Before then, I'm briefly going to give you a little bit of New Orleans piano, because I heard that's what you wanted here. Thanks. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd now like to give you the famous, fabulous, I think they're going to fit in, they finished tuning up, the Jools Holland Big Band. Big band taken away. We have the famous Jools Holland string section going to come up now. You've seen him perform with other bands, and now you're going to see him with this one. Where is he? He's done a lot of the big Beatle records you'll remember from the 1950s. And also, we've got Mr. Rock and Roll himself, a man so great that he still seemed to come here. There are none greater, surely, ladies and gentlemen, than Mr. Richie Smelly Pants Mayall.
You're looking for trouble? You've come to the right place. You're looking for trouble? Just look right in my face. I was born standing up and talking back. My daddy was a piece of railroad track because I'm evil. My middle name is Misery. Yes, I am evil. So don't you mess around with me. I don't wipe my bottom when I go to the loo. I'm rude to policemen, and I pick my nose too. There's no stopping me. I'm bloody mad. I smoke marijuana, and I don't go to lectures because I'm evil. My middle name is Jeremy. Yes, I'm evil. So don't you mess around with me. Mess around, everybody. I live with my mum, but she gets on my wick. And when I'm told off, I'm deliberately sick. So look out, you squares. I'm an angry young man. I once showed my willy to Princess Anne because I'm evil. My little name is Genevieve. Yes, I am evil. What? So don't you mess round with me! Bloody hell!
Big Smelly Pants Mayall, Gilton, latest Bill Wyman, the Jools Holland Experience.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the most extraordinary man in the history of the entire universe, Billy Connolly.
Hello. Hello, Nether Wallop. Nether Wallop. It sounds like something Harry Carpenter would say, doesn't it? He packs a lovely nether wallop. Which, and I must say, of all the introductions I've ever had, that's definitely the most recent. And do you know what I love? Wallop Nursing Home. I know you don't find Wallop very funny, but when you come across it at first, it's to the Wallops. You say, what's going to happen round this bloody band? But Wallop Nursing Home, they're the kind that are exposed in the news of the world, aren't they? Dare you bastard, hold on. You see, I've been warned. The worst thing in the world you can do to me is warn me. Because I just turn the other way. It's, well, not, in a biblical sense. I kind of... No, but, when I'm wanting to... You see, swearing, I've got a reputation for bad language. Gutter language, swearing, the F word, fuck, stuff like that, right? But you see, there are times you just have to do it occasionally because there are times when go away isn't enough. If somebody's stroking your ass in the subway, we're so crowded and somebody's giving it a strokey wokies and licking the back of your neck. You've got two choices. You can turn around and say, look, excuse me, I hate to disturb you in the middle of what's very obviously your hobby. If you can see your way clear to stop that, I'd be delirious with joy. Or you can say, fuck off or I'll break your neck. I would take bets as to the outcome. But it really is awful nice to be in Nether Wallop. I used to live in the country myself, and there's a thing that's always dazzled me about the countryside. There's animals everywhere and there's no dog shit in the pavement. Isn't that extraordinary? In London, there's no animals, you can hardly bloody walk. I think that people come out at night and shit all over the place to pretend they can afford a dog. A big one. Yeah. But it's, no, I meant it when I said it's nice to be here. I love being in a tent. I love camping and all. What the hell are we doing in Nether Wallop? I've played some toilets in my life. I love it. But I'll tell you something I noticed here today on the way to Nether Wallop. Well, that's just in case I keep forgetting where I bloody are. You know? But there were, you know, I used to hitchhike a lot. You know, Joe the hippie, yeah. Windswept and interesting, yeah. Suitcase and guitar in hand. You know, trying to be all magic and Jack Kerouac on the road, man. And I used to kind of tidy myself up, you know, to try and get a lift. You know, I'd wear a woolly hat, put all my hair in it and wash myself and stuff and smile and all that. Hitchhikers recently are getting quite extraordinary. I was looking at them at Hammersmith when we turned to come here. God, there was purple hair and... There was a guy naked with a chainsaw. Fuck you! Stick your car up your ass! He had a notice that said, I want to eat your children. You see, countryside always looks terribly cosy to me. The children are all healthy. Wellies and roses. Everybody looks like apples. Hello. Hello, I'm an apple, so am I. Like youth hostlers, you know. Hello, I'm a youth hostler. Where are you going? Child, get back to that seat or I'll kill you! Well, as I was saying, I'm not a country person. But I used to go to youth hostels, and all these nice people with shiny faces and anoraks. I say, hello, my philosophy is, a stranger's just a friend I don't know yet. Fuck off. Oh. You see, I had a city upbringing in Glasgow. You may have heard of it. It's a wee fishing village in the Clyde. And it was different from country folk, because country folk wear wellies and all that, and anoraks, and they're sort of... The rainwear in the country is proper, you know, they sort of enjoy the rain and get in about it. But in Glasgow, it wasn't like that. I used to wear a tweed coat. This coat thought I was edible. You know those hairy coats, eat your neck. There it was, you can't... And they used to send me out to play. Well, you can't play in a tweed coat. You can watch other people playing. It's like a bloody woolly suit of armour, isn't it? And they used to put on a scarf on me, a big yellow scarf, crossed over at the front and tied behind me. It was like a Wally suit, you know. And gloves that were tied with a piece of string. Which was always too short, it was like that. So have you seen Charlie Harrison? He's a weirdo that way. My granny thought I was deformed. Give me Granny a cuddle. See, my mother used to take me shopping like that. With all that woolly gear on, and a sort of a leatherette pilot's helmet. Do you remember them? This vinyl hat. It made my ears all sweaty, it made my hair wet. I'm glad you're back. So, this vinyl hat which I threw away at every opportunity, but it used to come back because my name and address was inside it. I couldn't read, I was none the wiser. I thought it was a sort of design. People kept bringing it back.
Hello, Mrs. Conway, I found your boy's hat. We were on holiday in Zimbabwe.
But he used to take me shopping like that, with that gear on. Well, in the winter it was like that, because I had the gloves on. My mother would give me a hand like that, and we'd get way downtown, I'd stand there. Well, she met a friend, and they would talk for hours, you know.
Making it rain on myself.
He's going, oh God, the kids are laughing. What will become of the children? Oh God, how I regret that night of shame at the Connolly concert. They'll be delinquent drug addicts. But you know, when I was there with my mother all those years, I became perverted. I became totally perverse. Because I would need to pee. Because it was such a long time. You just been, I saw you go. And we filmed you when you were in there. We were watching you. We saw your bum. So, all together, could you point to this young girl and go, eh, 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 eh. So, there I was, and I would burst, you know. What's wrong with you? She'd be talking about operations to somebody.
Yes, they took the whole thing away. It was... For God's sake!
They're obsessed with operations. And they do a funny mime. If it's anything below the waist, they start to mime. Yes, come on. So they're like these people who write to the papers. Dear doctor, do you ever read that stuff? I have a huge black lump under my arm. Why are they writing to the papers? Should be dialing 999. It changes colour at night. My willy glows in the dark. We are not alone. I bet you're glad you came. That poor woman squirming. So, where was I? Aye. So when I need to pee, just a minute, eyes, until I get this idiot to... What's wrong? I need to pee. Come on. Over to the side of the pavement. Clothes rent asunder. Tweed coat, scarf, the whole number. Whoosh. Trousers down. Willy out. Come on, come on. Interfered with. Hurry up, come on. Is she getting anything to you? Oh, this is Argyle Street in Glasgow. The whole world's gone past on buses. Salvation Army. It was worse for girls. They put their knickers down and held them up like this over a drain. I used to go, oh, look at that. She's got no willy. But see, when I was down there, as a wee person, I learned a great deal. About dogs, mainly. See, when you're only a wee person, an Alsatian's like a bloody grizzly bear. Huge. and their breath is awful. They breathe in wee people. Because they lick each other's arses, don't they? Breathe all over children. And when they're old, they fart. On children. Oh, Jesus, my eyes are burning here. And they bump into you and make your toffee apple all hairy. Dogs used to pee on me. That's what I thought the vinyl hat was for. Thank you, Nether.
The one obvious thing that we always should end with, like they do the last night of the prom, so will you all stand and sing Auld Lang Syne?
When does the Andover Advertiser come out? Friday?
Fridays.
So your deadline is what?
Well, I have to get it in there by Tuesday, 5 o'clock it's supposed to. Certainly photographs are. But I've got a bit about the quiz.
Oh, yes.
I don't know how to spell Gascoigne.
Try an E on the end, that'll look right.
I know how to spell Bamber.
Right.
But he gave me his autograph and I couldn't even read that. 3 long lines.
Raving lesbians.
Yes, well, they were, I turned out they were Peter Cook and Mel Smith, weren't they?
It's done Nether Wallop no end of good. The community enjoyed every moment of it, and they'll remember it for a very long time. As I said last night, for the last 3 days, all roads have led to Nether Wallop.